Somewhere right now, a woman is staring at her phone, not because of who she's texting, but because of something you said, a sentence you don't even remember, a smile you gave without meaning to, a moment so ordinary to you, but unforgettable to her. And as you sit there, thinking you are just another guy, she's replaying everything. The way your voice dropped when you talked about something real. The way you looked away, like you had no idea she was watching. The way you exist, like you don't need anyone to notice you. That's the part that gets her. That's the part that keeps her thinking. Because what no one tells you is this: the men and women secretly obsess over. They are never the loudest in the room. They're not the ones performing, not the ones chasing, and rarely the ones who even know they're being watched. They are the ones who move through the world like it's theirs, but without needing to prove it. The ones who speak when it matters, laugh when it's real, and vanish into their own thoughts while everyone else is trying to be seen. That man, the one who never even tries, is you. You just don't know it yet. And that's why you have never noticed the signs, the sudden awkwardness when you walk into the room, the way she mirrors your posture without realizing it, the way she finds reasons to be near you, but never stays long enough to get caught. You have missed it, because you were taught to look for attraction in the obvious places, flirting, compliments, directness. But that's not how real desire works, not with women, not with the kind who truly see you. Their attraction is quiet, subtle, hidden in gestures that look casual, but are not. And unless someone points them out, you will keep walking past women who are silently hoping you will say something. You will keep thinking you are invisible, when in reality, you are unforgettable. These next 5 signs, they are not loud, they're not obvious, and that's exactly why they're real. So, listen closely, because if even 2 of them sound familiar, someone in your life right now is secretly hoping you will finally notice her. Sign number 1, her body betrays her. Even when her words don't, she seems composed, put together, sharp with her words, smooth with her presence, the kind of woman who rarely falters, never fidgets, always knows what to say, especially around everyone else. But when she's near you, something shifts. Her laugh changes. It becomes a little faster, a little lighter, almost like it's escaping her before she realizes it. Her hand reaches for her hair, tucks it behind her ear, then does it again 10 seconds later. Her eyes search for something to focus on, a coffee cup, a menu, the floor, anything that is not your face for too long. And when she does look at you, her pupils widen just a bit more than they should. You might chalk it up to nerves or social awkwardness. You might think, she's just tired, distracted, having a weird day. But here's what's really happening. Her body has already said what her mind is still trying to suppress. She's attracted to you, deeply. But that attraction is wrapped in fear, confusion, vulnerability. And so her body betrays her. Her words stay neutral, polite, professional. She might even seem distant or unimpressed, but her physiology tells the truth, and she can't control it. Carl Jung once said that what we suppress doesn't disappear. It reemerges, disguised as behavior we can't explain. This is shadow psychology. When a woman tries to suppress desire, especially if she believes it's one-sided, that desire leaks out in fragmented, uncontrollable ways. She starts overcompensating. She may act overly disinterested while checking her reflection in a nearby window. She may interrupt you quickly, then nervously correct herself. She may crack a joke, then instantly apologize, as if worried it came out wrong. She wants you to see her, but not see too much. Because deep down, she's terrified of what would happen if you realize just how much she's been thinking about you. And that's the contradiction. Around her friends, she's unshaken, calm, effortlessly in control. But around you, the man she secretly wants, she becomes someone she does not fully recognize. It's not always dramatic. Often it's subtle. She lingers 1 second too long in a hallway. She sighs without knowing why. She trips over a word she's said 1,000 times before, and you probably don't notice, because you have been taught to look for the loud signs of attraction, flirtation, compliments, bold gestures. But the women who feel the most often say the least. Her silence is not disinterest, it's restraint. Her distance is not rejection, it's defense. She's not afraid of you. She's afraid of what you make her feel. And that is the deepest sign of all. When a woman's body starts betraying the calm image she's built for the world, when her words remain careful, but her hands fidget, her breath shortens, her eyes dart, and her center collapses the moment you speak. That's not an accident. That's desire wrapped in armor slowly falling apart because of you. Sign number 2. She remembers the things you forgot. You said it once, offhand. Maybe during a lazy afternoon conversation or while scanning a menu. I'm more of a lemon tea guy. Coffee makes me anxious. You forgot you even said it, but weeks later, there she is, holding lemon tea. And when you casually mention it, she smiles like it's a coincidence. But it's not. That was not a drink order. It was a memory trigger, a detail she stored, because it mattered. See, when a woman is secretly attracted to you, she starts collecting data. Not like a stalker, like someone trying to understand a language, your language. She remembers the band you said you liked, even if it came up in passing. She recalls your opinion on something trivial because it was not trivial to her. She notes the way your tone shifted when you talked about your childhood, and she brings it up again, later, carefully, like she's testing how much you remember too. This is not just a good memory, it's emotional imprinting. When you make someone feel something powerful, surprise, admiration, connection, their brain records it differently, deeper, stickier. To her, you are not background noise, you're a signal, something that cuts through the static of daily life. So, her mind holds on to you, in pieces. It's not just what you said, it's how you said it. The way your eyes softened when you talked about your brother. The way your voice went quiet when you mentioned a past regret. And even if you have long moved on from that moment, she has not. Psychologists call this selective memory encoding. It happens when the brain tags something as emotionally significant. You, to her, are that emotional event. And there's more. According to attachment theory, when someone sees emotional potential in another person, especially someone they perceive as grounded, safe, and emotionally mature, they begin tracking patterns. Tiny emotional breadcrumbs. How often do you open up? What topics do you avoid? What lights you up versus what shuts you down? She watches it all, not with a checklist, but with a quiet, feminine intuition most men never notice. Why? Because she's not just listening to connect. She's listening to prepare, to understand what kind of man you are, and what kind of woman she had need to become to stand beside you. That's why when you say, "I used to hike, but I have not in a while," she does not respond with advice. She shows up 3 weeks later with a story about a trail she found, and asks if you have ever been. When you mention your mom was not well, she brings it up gently the next time you see her, not to pry, but to show she was listening. Really listening. And here's what most men miss. Women don't remember everything. They remember selectively, based on who matters. If she remembers things you forgot, if she recalls random lines from months ago, if she brings up past conversations you barely remember having, you have left a mark. You did not try to. That's why it worked, because you were not performing. You were just being yourself, and that version of you, unfiltered, unplanned, was powerful enough to imprint. So next time someone references something you forgot you shared, pay attention. That's not just memory, that's emotional investment. That's someone secretly hoping their attention to detail will one day mean something to you too. Sign number 3, her eyes reveal the truth, then flee from it. You feel it before you see it. That strange pressure in the air, like someone's watching you. So you glance up, and for a moment, her eyes meet yours. But only for a moment. She looks away, fast, sometimes with a half smile, sometimes pretending to fix her hair or check her phone. Like nothing happened, like she wasn't studying you just seconds earlier, but she was. That wasn't a random glance, it was a scan. A moment of silent intensity where she let her guard down, and then yanked it back up. And here's what most men never realize. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, her eyes will betray her long before her words ever will. Eye contact is primal. It bypasses social scripts. It's not what we say, it's what our nervous system does before we have time to filter it. In psychology, this is called approach avoidance behavior, the instinct to move toward what we want, followed immediately by the fear of being exposed. That's what happens in her eyes. When she looks at you, it's not just to admire your face. She's watching the way your jaw tightens when you're focused, the way your eyebrows move when you're deep in thought, the way your presence seems both detached and commanding. But then she realizes you've noticed, and she panics. Because eye contact isn't just visual, it's emotional. It's a kind of nakedness, a split-second moment where she's not in control anymore. And that terrifies her. Why? Because if she looks too long, you'll see it. Not just attraction, but everything underneath it. The longing, the vulnerability, the story she's built about who you are. She's not just seeing a man, she's seeing a possibility, a relationship that doesn't exist yet, but already feels real in her mind. This is where primal psychology kicks in. In early human evolution, prolonged eye contact signaled intimacy, trust, or threat. That's why it still triggers our adrenaline. That's why your heart beats a little faster when someone holds your gaze just a second too long. And for her, that moment, locking eyes with you, isn't just a physical response. It's a psychological risk. Because if she looks too long, you might realize what she's been hiding, and worse, you might not feel the same. So she pulls away, fast, controlled, casual, or at least trying to be. You might assume she's shy or just polite. You might even think she's not interested at all. But the truth is, if she wasn't attracted to you, she wouldn't look at you that much in the first place. And she definitely wouldn't feel the need to look away. Indifference holds eye contact without fear. But desire hides. Desire avoids exposure, especially when it feels like it's one-sided. That's the paradox. The more deeply she's drawn to you, the harder it is for her to hold your gaze. So, the next time you catch a woman looking, and she quickly looks away, don't dismiss it. That moment was her heart skipping and her logic catching up. She wants you to notice, but only a little. Just enough to wonder, just enough to test the waters. And if you look back, not with arrogance, but with presence, you might just be the first man who ever saw her without making her regret being seen. Sign number 4, she repositions her life just to be near yours. You walk into your favorite coffee shop. Same time, same order, same spot near the window. But lately, someone else has been there too. Not sitting with you, not even talking to you, just there, near the corner, in your periphery, headphones in, book open, half watching. At first it feels like coincidence, then it happens again. Different day, different outfit, same chair, same timing. You think, maybe she just likes this place. But deep down, something doesn't add up, because she didn't used to be here, and now she is, often, not just at the coffee shop, but at the same gym class you just started, in that group hangout your friend invited you to, volunteering for that extra project at work, the one you were already on. And every time it feels casual, unplanned, random, but it isn't. She's repositioning herself, quietly, into your orbit. Not to stalk you, not to overwhelm you, but to be seen, to be near, to increase the chances of something, anything, happening. This is what psychologists call strategic proximity, the unconscious or semi-conscious act of placing yourself in someone's environment to deepen familiarity and increase emotional exposure without making it obvious. It's not manipulation, it's protection. Because the very women who are most drawn to you are also the ones most afraid of being rejected by you. So instead of chasing, they drift. They orchestrate collisions that feel accidental. She shows up at the bookstore you once mentioned, takes the long hallway to pass your desk, sits just close enough to overhear your voice, but far enough to deny it if asked. And you might think, she's just being friendly. Or worse, she probably doesn't even notice me. But what you're really seeing is emotional investment hidden under layers of plausible deniability. Because admitting it would be terrifying, too direct, too exposed, too vulnerable. So she builds patterns designed to look like randomness. Why? Because she's hoping that the more she's around you, the more you'll start to see her. Not as a passerby, but as someone who belongs in your space. And over time, these coincidences start to build emotional residue. She becomes familiar, recognizable, safe, and slowly, essential. That's the silent strategy. To make your world feel incomplete when she's not around, without ever having said a word about how she feels. And the truth is, she might never tell you. Because this closeness she's created, It's her way of speaking, without having to speak, and most men miss it. They notice the presence, but not the pattern. They chalk it up to timing, or friendliness, or shared routines. But shared routines don't explain why she suddenly joined that event you've gone to for years, why she switched her lunch break, why she always seems to have a reason to talk to you, even when there's someone else she could have asked. This isn't stalking, it's subtle pursuit. It's a dance of emotional calculation. How close can she get without tipping her hand? Because the moment you realize what she's doing, it's no longer safe for her. So she hides it, in errands, in timing, in little moments that don't feel like anything, until they feel like everything. So, pay attention, not to the grand gestures, but to the quiet consistency. If she keeps showing up where you are, not once, not twice, but often, it's not chance, it's not coincidence. It's her way of saying, I want to be near you. I just don't know if I'm allowed to want that. Sign number 5. She asks questions that peel your mask off. You are having what seems like a normal conversation. Maybe it's during a walk, or in a car, or late at night when everyone else has already gone quiet. And then she asks, did you and your dad ever get along? Or, have you ever been in love? Or, what's something you wish people understood about you? It does not feel intrusive. She's not prying. Her tone is soft, curious, not calculated, but the question lands deep, deeper than you expected. It reaches into a part of you that most people don't bother with. And then she changes the subject, effortlessly, as if nothing happened. But something did. She peeled a layer back, and while you're still thinking about your answer, she's already thinking about what it revealed. See, when a woman is secretly drawn to you, she doesn't just look at what you do. She listens for what you protect, what you deflect, what you avoid, and what you unconsciously reveal when you think you're being casual. She asks about your childhood, not because she wants gossip, but because she wants to know what shaped you. She asks about your last relationship, not for drama, but to understand what kind of love you learned to accept, and what kind you've been running from. To you, it's just conversation. To her, it's character development. She's gathering details, not to judge you, but to build a story of who you are, like a novelist building a character. What motivates him? What breaks him? What does he dream of when he's not performing? Most men don't notice it. They think, she's just really easy to talk to, or she's so emotionally intelligent. And she might be. But what you're missing is this. She's studying you, not in a cold, clinical way, in a warm, emotionally intuitive way, because she doesn't want the surface version of you. She wants the real you, the version hidden under your sarcasm, your routine answers, your practiced detachment. She wants the man beneath the mask. And here's where Jung comes in. Carl Jung believed that all of us carry archetypes, universal versions of the self buried in our psyche. The king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, the rebel, the savior. And when a woman asks you deeper questions, what she's really doing is trying to figure out which archetype lives inside you. Are you the man who leads quietly, like a king? The man who protects what matters, like a warrior? The one who hides his pain behind wisdom, like a magician? Or the man who loves with intensity but fears being loved back, like the wounded lover? She's trying to see not just who you are now, but who you've always been beneath the noise. This is emotional layering, a process where someone builds a three-dimensional understanding of you by collecting small, intimate pieces over time. And if you've noticed that she brings up those pieces later, asks how your mom's doing, remembers your career doubts, or circles back to a story you once brushed off, that's not casual. That's deliberate emotional investment. She's tracing your outline and filling it in with care, because to her, you're not just a man, you're a mystery worth understanding. And maybe she's hoping that if she knows you well enough, you'll finally let her in, not just physically, but into the story you've been writing alone. So, pay attention to the questions. If she asks what scares you, what makes you proud, what kind of love you want but haven't found, she's not asking out of boredom. She's asking because, in her own quiet way, she's already imagined what it might feel like to be the woman who finally understands you. You might be wondering, if all of this is true, if she's watching you, thinking about you, replaying your words, why has not she said anything? Why does not she just tell you? The answer is not weakness, it's programming. Because from the time she was young, she was taught one thing: to wait. Wait to be chosen, wait to be pursued. Wait for the man to make the move, because if she does it first, she risks everything. We often praise confidence in men, but punish it in women when it comes to love. So instead of expressing desire, she learns to signal it in shadows, to communicate through proximity, eye contact, nervous energy, subtle questions. Also, she never has to say, "I want you." Because if you don't feel the same, she loses not just the chance, she loses her dignity. And that's the fear, rejection. Not just of her feelings, but of her perception of you. What if she's wrong? What if she misread the signs? What if you think she's desperate? What if you're out of her league? That last one stings the most, because the more deeply a woman admires you, your calmness, your independence, your depth, the less likely she is to believe she has a chance. And that's the paradox. The men who are most admired, most desired, most fantasized about, often feel the most invisible. Because the moment you start radiating quiet self-possession, the kind that does not beg for validation, people assume you're already wanted, already loved, already unavailable. So, she never tells you. She just hopes you notice. She just waits for you to make the first move. She drops signals and smiles and soft glances, and then walks away like none of it meant anything. But it did. It meant she was trying, carefully, silently, strategically. Because to her, you were not just another man. You were the one worth risking hope for, even if she could never say it out loud. You have walked into rooms where no one said a word to you, passed by women who did not smile, been in circles where no one flirted, no one reached out, no one made it obvious. And so, you told yourself, I'm not the type they notice. But here's the part no one ever says out loud. You were not invisible because you lacked presence. You were invisible because your presence was too powerful to approach carelessly. The truth is, people admire from a distance what they are afraid to reach. And if you have ever felt unseen, it might not be because you were not desirable, but because you were admired silently by people who did not believe they had the right to approach you. There is a hidden cost to that kind of desirability. You walk through the world unaware of your effect. You doubt your attractiveness. You question your worth. You assume you have been overlooked, when in reality, you have just been put on a pedestal so high, no one dared to climb it, and that leads to something deeper, something quieter, something most men don't talk about: emotional isolation. Because what good is being desired if no one tells you, if no one shows it, if the only evidence lives in the shadows, in quick glances, subtle gestures, and conversations you didn't realize were laced with meaning? You begin to feel disconnected from yourself, from others, from the truth of your impact. And so you shrink. You stop showing up fully. You stop believing you're the kind of man people crave, because they never said it. But they were there, watching, feeling, wanting, just silently. So maybe now you are thinking back to a woman who got nervous around you, one who remembered too much, one who lingered near but never said why. And now you see the signs, the missed signals, the silent invitations. So what do? You don't exploit it. You don't suddenly act like you've won something, because this is not a game. It's someone else's bravery disguised as silence. If you recognize yourself in these signs, if you feel that quiet pull from someone in your orbit, the right move is not domination. It's awareness. Honor the effort. Because the women who show you these signs are not just attracted to how you look, they are drawn to who you are when you're not trying. And that's a rare kind of desire, one rooted in presence, not performance. So respond with presence, not with arrogance, but with warmth, not with games, but with attention. Pay closer attention to the ones who look twice, but speak half. The ones who ask thoughtful questions, but pretend it's just small talk. The ones who show up again and again, but always have a reason that sounds like coincidence. They don't need you to be perfect. They just need a sign that you see them too. A glance that lingers, a sentence that goes just a bit deeper, a question that lets them know you've been listening. You don't have to force anything. Just make it safe for something to begin. Because sometimes the bravest thing someone can do is quietly hope you will notice. You were not invisible. You were unforgettable. In silence. While you walked through rooms unnoticed, someone was memorizing the way you moved. While you thought your voice did not matter, someone was replaying the way you said her name. And while you believed you were just another man passing by, You were becoming the one she could not stop thinking about. Because the truth is, you have always been watched, not with eyes that judged, but with eyes that longed. You just did not know how to read the language, the nervous glances, the thoughtful questions, the sudden silences. But now, you do. Now you see what was hidden. Now you recognize what was always there, and maybe, somewhere right now, a woman is smiling at the thought of you, not because of what you did, but because of how you made her feel without even trying. She's waiting for a moment, a word, a glance. Maybe not today, maybe not ever, but still hoping. You will smile back someday,